My dear friends, a very warm welcome. Thanks for joining me to reflect on the fourth Sunday in Ordinary Time. The Gospel is from Luke chapter 4, verses 21 to 30. The Gospel theme is the humility of Jesus, God's answer to human contempt and pride. We are who we are often because of our upbringing in virtues and values that our parents have inculcated in and imparted to us. I remember I was told, be humble in Teochew Mai Hao Lian. Don't be boastful or proud. Jesus, I imagine, would have his self-understanding and knowledge shaped and formed by his parents, Mary and Joseph. He was also infused with his vision of life from his identity as a Son of God. All through his life, he practiced the virtue of care and compassion for the poor and the despairing ones in society. This insight can be gleaned from the programmatic proclamation in the synagogue as seen in the Gospel for the fourth week in Ordinary Time. He started off his public ministry by proclaiming the good news as one anointed by the power of the Spirit to bring about the fulfillment of God's promise. Jesus is telling us that God has not forgotten the poor, the captives, the blind, the downtrodden, and all his actions are to save these people who have been neglected, ignored, and abused, and left in despair. In other words, God hears the cry of the poor. This is the good news. We often live in a world where the rich, the powerful, and the influential get what they want and get away with what they hold in contempt, ignoring the poor and powerless who are often the women and children in a male-dominated society then and even now. When Jesus read the prophetic words of Isaiah chapter 61, the Pharisees and religious and the leaders in the synagogue could not accept what he preached and were determined to oppose him. Perhaps they were jealous of him and felt their status threatened by his authority and power. God's answer for human hubris and contempt is to overturn the proud-hearted and powerful by taking the path of humility and mercy. He let his work be manifest in the person of Jesus, the anointed and beloved in whom his favor rests. Jesus knew that they could not accept him. This is Joseph's son, surely, Luke chapter 4, verse 21, because they had taken him for granted and they had put him in the pigeonhole of prejudice and contempt. And Jesus could read their mind and say, I tell you solemnly, no prophet is ever accepted in his own country, Luke chapter 4, verses 24. Reflecting on our own situations of suffering and evil in the world, it is not surprising that we should face injustice, rejection, and even persecution when we imitate Jesus in humility and kindness. But we can rejoice and learn from Pope Francis, who tells us to practice forgiveness, for it is the key to victory over the forces of darkness today. God forgives sins so that joy, not sadness, can flourish once again in one's heart, Pope Francis said. And how do you conquer evil? By welcoming God's forgiveness and the forgiveness of one's brothers and sisters. Pope Francis, in his address, in the Angelus address on the 15th of September 2019. And so, my dear friends, as we approach the Lunar New Year this coming week, let's resolve to allow the spirit of goodwill of the family reunion to strengthen our bonds of gratitude and love for each other. Perhaps it is the right time and opportunity to be reconciled with each other and to say sorry to someone in the family whom we have hurt and have been resentful towards. Let this auspicious year be a time to tame the tiger of ferocity, aggression, and jealousy. Truly, we must allow the Spirit of God to heal the wounds of division and jealousy and hate in the family if we are to be at peace and to be happy. And so with that, my dear friends, I have two questions for reflections. The first is, when did you experience prejudice and contempt by others in your life? And the second question is, how did you deal with it? And so I invite you to join me to pray for protection together with Mother Mary in the words given to us by Pope Francis. O Mary, you shine continuously on our journey as a sign of salvation and hope. We entrust ourselves to you, health of the sick, who at the foot of the cross, you participated in Jesus' pain with steadfast faith. You, salvation of the Roman people and of the whole world, know what we need. And we are certain that you will provide, so that as you did at Cana of Galilee, joy and feasting might return after this moment of trial. Help us, Mother of Divine Love, to conform ourselves to the Father's will, to do what Jesus tells us. He who took on our sufferings upon himself and bore our sorrows to bring us through the cross to the joy of the resurrection. We seek refuge under your protection, O Holy Mother of God. Do not despise our pleas, we who are put to the test, and deliver us from every danger, O glorious and blessed Virgin. Amen. So thank you for joining me, and for those of us who celebrate the Chinese Lunar New Year, we wish you a blessed Chinese New Year and a Happy New Year, that the Lord's blessings will always be upon you and your family. God bless all of you.